June 2024. Inside a British courtroom, a 92-year-old man waited for a verdict. For decades, he had lived quietly, a normal life, a normal family. But the court had just reached a decision about something he did in 1967. The judge spoke 4 words that ended a mystery spanning nearly 6 decades. Guilty of the murder. The victim was a 75-year-old widow named Louisa Dunne. For nearly 6 decades, nobody knew who killed her, until investigators uncovered one forgotten clue that had been hiding since 1967. When police announced the arrest of Ryland Headley, people were stunned, not just because the crime was solved, but because the suspect was now 92 years old, which raised a chilling question. How did a man manage to hide a murder for 58 years? To answer that, investigators had to go back to a quiet street in Bristol. Back to a cold night in 1967. Louisa Dunne, twice widowed, lived alone in a small house. She was frail, stood at just 5 feet 3 inches, 1.6 meters, and weighed less than 7 stone, 44 kilograms. She was known to be found at her front door, chatting with acquaintances or watching the world go by. But on the morning of 28 June 1967, a neighbor noticed something strange. Her front door was slightly open. Inside the house, the scene was disturbing. Louisa Dunne had been violently attacked. She was found in her front room, laying on her back, clothed, but with her underwear around her ankles. Bruising to the neck indicated she had been strangled with her scarf, and something heavy had been held over her mouth. The crime shocked the entire neighborhood. Why would anyone target a harmless 75-year-old woman? The scene suggested something detectives feared immediately: a burglary gone terribly wrong. Police launched an intense investigation. A swab tested positive for semen. They found was a narrow section of a left palm print, the area beneath the little finger, on the frame of an upstairs sash window. But beyond this, police had very little forensic evidence. They searched the house. They interviewed dozens of people. To be precise, they made 8,000 house-to-house inquiries, and about 2,000 witness statements were taken. And guys, here, there is a chilling twist. Wait till the end. They even detained several suspects, took the palm prints of every male between the ages of 15 and 60 within a 1.5-mile, 2.4-kilometer radius of Mrs. Dunne's home, as well as all those convicted of burglary or a sexual offense. But none of them could be linked to the crime. One name never appeared on their list: Ryland Headley. And slowly, the investigation stalled. Years passed, then decades. The murder of Louisa Dunne became what detectives fear the most: a cold case. Every few years, investigators reopened the file. They reviewed witness statements, they re-examined the evidence, but nothing seemed strong enough to identify the killer. However, instead of discarding certain pieces of evidence, they stored them carefully, just in case, because they believed that one day science might catch up. Fast forward to the 2020s. Investigators decided to re-examine the evidence from Louisa Dunne's home, and inside one item collected in 1967, they found something investigators back then could never analyze: a tiny biological trace left behind by the attacker. Forensic scientists extracted DNA. They ran it through the national database. Within seconds, the system produced a name. The suspect had been living freely for decades. His name was Ryland Headley. And here's the chilling part. It later transpired Headley was living 1.6 miles away on Picton Street in Montpelier, which was just outside of the police's catchment. At the time, he had no previous convictions. Police arrested him in 2023. Prosecutors argued that Headley had broken into the house, intending to steal. When the elderly widow confronted him, the burglary escalated into violence. The forensic evidence placed him directly at the crime scene, and after reviewing the case, the jury reached a decision. In 2024, the court found him guilty of rape and murder, which he did when he was 34 years old. Louisa Dunne lived a quiet life. Her death shocked a small neighborhood in Bristol. And for 58 years, her killer believed he had escaped. But the one thing he never realized was that the crime scene had preserved a piece of him, a tiny trace, small enough to be ignored in 1967, but powerful enough to speak the truth in 2024. Because sometimes, even after half a century, evidence never forgets. Thanks for watching till the end, and subscribe for more.